Hey guys, I am the Chosen One Legend here with my co-host,
I am Kai, also known as Vestroia.
and welcome to our podcast BunchaJokahs, where we talk about all sorts of Nintendo news, which is kind of depressing at the moment because there's not much Nintendo news.
Yeah, it's been a little bit quiet recently.
It has been a sort of unprecedented slump, somewhat understandable given everything happening in the world, but
Of course.
yeah, we haven't really got given that many updates, and we don't know much about what's to come. But that doesn't mean we don't have things to talk about here. There's still a few bits of news we've heard. We've still got different games.
We always
that we've
find a way
both
to
been
talk
playing.
about something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll take one small topic and expound it into an hour-long discussion if we have to. You know.
We could always just talk about Xenoblade again.
You know what? Funny enough, I'm actually going to bring Xenoblade up later, but we will get to that.
Okay.
But for now, though, we do have a few other things, and at the end, we're going to do an extra segment where we're going to talk about our picks for who we think could be the final 5 characters in the Smash Fighters Pass 2 DLC. So do stay tuned for that. There are, of course, timestamps in the description below if you want to jump around, but we'd always recommend watching the whole thing. It's all good, isn't it, Kai?
Yeah, it's all high quality, especially when Matt's
Exactly.
not talking.
That is, you're fired. Sam's now my new co-host. Get out.
Does that mean I've got to Photoshop the thumbnails?
I think that's only fair. This should be
Oh,
good.
God.
I've seen you edit a gun onto Ryan, so you know
That's true.
that's your that's your
That's my
interview. So,
limit.
yeah. But without
right.
further ado, we will get on with the podcast. And our first section, can't have a podcast without news, baby. Which thankfully is true because we have a little bit of news, a few tidbits. And we're going to start off very strong, of course, because on the 10th of July, there was a Nintendo Treehouse presentation where they showed off some Paper Mario, but not really much new, so we'll get to that later. They did have a surprise announcement at the end by Way Forward, which was it was Bakugan. Bakugan Champions of Vestroia, or I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't really care how you pronounce it.
Something like that.
It's Bakugan. I did not expect that, and you know what? Fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just it's not the same as like Pokemon Unite. It's not like they hyped up a big reveal or anything. We knew it was it was just going to be something by Way Forward, but they've made some great games like Shantae. It could have been something, but no, it's Bakugan.
Yeah, and just the name Bakugan on its own, like, of course, it's been a franchise for a while now, and
Yeah.
it's been supported relatively well. I believe the support for it's been alright, but
More than I expected, actually. Yeah.
yeah. So the series itself isn't something that I'm gonna bash because I don't know too much about it, but the game itself, I don't know, man. What do you think? What do you
It
think?
just it looked really boring. I mean, I don't know much about Bakugan, so I don't know if there's more to it really. I sort of zoned out honestly through when they started talking about it, but it just looked like you were standing still and watching stuff happen, and it wasn't even like it was cool fights. You were just watching generic, punches or whatever.
I toughed through the entire thing and watched it all, and yeah, the battle system in particular seems a little bit boring because you have the aspect of these huge mechs that are fighting, and that's kind of cool. And it's like, how does the player take part in this? Do you control them or something? And the idea is, no, you power them up. And even then, I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. How do you power them up? You run around them and pick up orbs the entire time. Like, that might be fun as like a little mini game to a Mario Party game, or something like that. But
Yeah,
I don't think it works as the core battle mechanic of a game because it just seems a little.
Exactly. It's like if you're playing Xenoblade 2 and all you did was walk around collecting the HP potions while the enemies fight.
Exactly.
It's
I mean,
just
that's
like
basically
that.
how I did play the game.
Yeah. Granted, that's a legit strategy, So.
Yeah, there you go. But,
But,
yeah, it doesn't work here.
Like, I know this. I think even some of the older games have a bit of a classic following, but the thing is, I don't think there's enough here to even people who have nostalgia from the old games. I don't think there's much for them here either. So
I mean,
you
I
know.
don't know too much about the series, but
No, me
there's
neither.
a Japanese only series called I think it's called LBX by Level 5.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know too much about it. I don't know loads about the gameplay, but you know that has these like little cardboard mechs things that you control, and you know you have stronger ones and all that, and that just seemed like it took the same idea from Bakugan and made it better. Like I don't know which one came first, but it was the same idea but improved. And these games came out on the DS like 10 years ago.
I mean, I've never even seen that, but what you're describing just sounds more interesting than what I've seen of this new one. So.
Yeah, so I mean it is level 5, so I've got to support them, of course. But
Of
yeah,
course.
this game just seems a little lackluster. The overworld, it seems like on the same playing field as maybe Pokemon Sword and Shield, maybe.
Yeah,
but,
similar.
yeah, nothing special really.
Nah,
I'm gonna be
not the
honest.
end of the world though. The other thing they talked about was Paper Mario, which actually came out on the 17th, so a week later. Paper Mario, the Origami King. Neither of us have got it, I'm pretty sure.
No.
Yep, so we don't have too much to say, but our wonderful marketing person, Sam, has he's got the game and he's given us some notes. So we're gonna run through all these notes and then we're going to talk about how we feel about it and whether we might get it in the future.
Okay.
So the few points he said that the graphics, I'm just going to take out the quote he said at the start. The game has no right to look this damn gorgeous. And from what I've seen in trailers, I completely agree. It looks stunning. So
Yeah, I'm
looks
fully
really
with you
nice.
on that too. From what we've seen, it looks so visually pleasing. And although I enjoyed in previous Paper Mario games, they didn't really dote on the paper idea too much, especially in Super
No.
Paper Mario. Like they did take the concept, but they didn't overdo it. There's a little bit more paper theming here, but regardless of that, they've made it look amazing. So I'm not going to complain.
yeah, it's sort of something they started with Color Splash and then they've sort of keeping with
Yeah.
it and it's at its peak now. I think it looks really good.
Absolutely.
He said that the story he said was pretty linear. He hasn't played much, but it seems to follow a pretty basic pattern, which I guess he sort of expect a little bit. Though I've heard some of the early ones have more interesting stories.
Okay.
He did say
Yeah,
the
I mean,
characters.
Paper Mario is great. So
I've heard Super Paper Mario has a really good story. I haven't played it myself, but
it is. I've played it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
he said the characters are really charming and well written. He specifically shouted out Bowser, who has great dialogue. And
Okay,
Bowser's
that's
known
good, 'cause as
for
much
having that in the
as-
RPGs.
Yeah, as much as story might be lacking in this game in a way, the fact that they're still managing to make charming dialogue that I've seen all over the place is a nice thing to see, because they've
Yeah.
always had that.
I've already seen a few people posting images on Twitter of different lines, and it does seem really funny.
Yeah.
And Sam even mentioned there's like sort of fourth wall breaks and jokes to like other parts of the series and stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah, they've done that right, for sure.
Definitely. He said the battle was an interesting challenge. It's almost sort of like, I've got the impression it's more like a puzzle than a typical RPG sort of combat system.
Definitely seems that way.
Yeah. And he says it does get a little bit repetitive in that you pretty much just have your jump and hammer. There's not too much more to it other than a few extra abilities. But he's not that far in the game, I should preface, so there could be later stuff on. But that's sort of the impression I get. It does. There's apparently sort of a satisfaction from solving the puzzle, but the actual combat itself, there's not much to that. It's more of a puzzle game, really, which is an interesting twist. So some people might like it more.
From what I've heard, I've seen a little bit of talk about the battle system and how you talked about it as a little bit repetitive, and that apparently, like, you know, there are quite a few scripted battles, but it's a good thing because without them, you wouldn't really feel the need to do any fights. So when
No
you do
experience,
have to do fights, because there's no experience, there's no reason to do fights apart from coins. So all the scripted fights, you know, that have a bit of text maybe before and after, sort of give them a sense of reason. So that's a good inclusion to make up for the fact there's no XP system.
Yeah, that's true. It definitely seems like it's not going to sell for everyone. There are people who are going to, love their classic, more standard RPG system. But I mean, some people this might appeal more to, maybe. So I guess
they try something new. So
yeah, some respect for going out of their comfort zone a little bit. He did say that he has a few wishes the game had, things he wished they include. He mentioned fast travel would be helpful because there's a few warp pipes you can take, but otherwise it's a bit of a slog. and he said
Right.
that some characters could use a bit more development. But overall, he seemed pretty positive on it, and I must say I have seen generally positive reception to this game.
Yeah, same. Like, of course, although it may have its issues, every game has its issues, and this one just does I think it just does a good job in general. You know.
Yeah, it definitely. It's not the Paper Mario game that everyone wanted, but that doesn't mean it can't be good in its own rights, I guess. So.
Yeah. Oh, plus one more thing to add on about this game is
go
I've
for it.
listened to the soundtrack.
Oh,
my God,
yes.
the soundtrack is amazing, man.
It is. I've only listened to like 2 or 3 songs, but they were bangers. They were like up there, not far from some Xenoblade songs. You know, it was actually really impressive.
Like hands down the best soundtrack we've heard in a Paper Mario game. Like, and it's probably better than most of the songs in the Mario and Luigi series too. The other Mario
Honestly,
RPG
yeah.
series. Of course, there are some really good standout ones from those series, such as the final battle in Bowser's Inside Story. But without going on to too much of a tangent on that, like, yeah, Origami King does have an amazing soundtrack from what I've heard. So.
It does, and if I don't get the game, I at least want to listen to all the soundtrack. But
it's because it's orchestrated.
Yes, that
myself.
definitely helps. But do you think you're going to get this game at any point? Do you plan to in a few months or?
Probably not, I'll be honest. It does look good. I would be interested in maybe watching a playthrough or something like that, but I don't have enough personal interest to go through it myself.
I'm kind of at the same point as you. I think it does actually look quite good, but I haven't even played a Paper Mario game before, and this doesn't seem like enough to really bring me into the series. But maybe in a few months, if there's still no Nintendo games coming out, I might be tempted.
Or just go play Thousand Year Door or Super Paper Mario.
if I can find it on eBay for a good price, Kai. Otherwise, I'm screwed.
It might be on the eShop. Like Super Paper Mario might be on the eShop. Probably.
Yeah, I think it's on the Wii U eShop. So.
Here we go. I mean, no, Origami King though. It seems fun, but
yeah.
If there are other games or other things you'd rather do with your time, then so be it.
Yeah, I'm glad people are enjoying it though. So that's cool to hear.
Yeah.
But we're moving on to our next segment, or not next segment, next bit of news. On the 20th, they had a Nintendo Direct Mini, something like something showcase they called it. It was for third-party releases, and it wasn't that good.
It was something. Something.
We'll go through all the releases in it or announcements in it. They started pretty strong with Cadence of Hyrule DLC, which is. It's not a game I've played past a demo, but it looked really cool what they're adding. So.
Yeah, the entire concept of the series in the first place seems cool, and the fact that they managed to make Cadence of Hyrule like a Zelda game with this style was really good. The soundtrack, of course, is amazing, and it's a fun concept.
Definitely.
So,
and they're adding
DLC,
more songs.
and more songs, more DLC, more songs, like, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's nice to see. Like, it's just one of those nice additions. There's nothing bad to really say about it. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, also they're releasing a full version of the game. I think a physical version in October. So I really enjoyed the demo I played. So maybe I'll get that when it comes out because it's definitely one of the games that's on my watch list. It's definitely got a lot of charm, and cool. I'm a big Zelda fan. So
there we go.
More of it's always good. That's it goes a little bit down from there. There was I don't even have this game noted down actually. There was some shooter game, Rogue Company or something, which looked average, looked generic. Shooters, yeah. Pew,
We're
pew.
not huge shooter players, are we? So
we are not. And honestly, even if you are a shooter fan, I don't think that game's probably gonna grab your interest particularly. But
go play Valorant or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something. But don't worry, there was something big. We got WWE game, so
oh man, I'm
pulling out honestly, all the stops.
Xenoblade who? Oh my god.
We don't need anything else for the rest of the year, we just need John Cena.
Pretty much. I mean, I didn't even see him in the opening. He just there was like an empty slot where he should have been. I was really confused.
Yeah, they said his name, but we couldn't see anything.
I saw like a floating pair of like wrestling shorts, and that was it. It was really weird.
That's all I needed to sell me on the game, though, Kai. So it's all good. But yeah, there was that, which fine, and there was SMT, so Shin Megami Tensei 3 and 3 remake and 5. They showed a bit of that, that's kind of cool. That's actually a relatively big announcement that they'd had for a long time. It just reaches a more niche audience. So if you're not an SMT fan, there's really not much for you here.
I've heard it's actually quite difficult as well.
Yes, I've heard
it's one of the more difficult games. So
yeah, I'm a wuss. So
cool. I think for the fans of the series, like fair play, enjoy it because it seems alright. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't think of the game though without hearing its title in an Australian accent now though.
Wait, why is that?
That's all I can hear from it. There's a video of a guy just in an Australian accent going Shin Megami Tensei.
I have seen that. Yes. Yeah.
But for the fans of the game, like, fair enough. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I think there was nothing wrong with that direct mini. It was pretty much exactly what they told us it would be. My only thing is, it just seems kind of pointless. It's like, why not just wait till you've got a bit more,
Yeah, it would have been a much better shout to wait until that could maybe be half of a bigger mini direct, or wait until it can be used in a proper one, because all of those games would fit perfectly in just a regular direct,
Yeah,
at different
exactly.
points. So why didn't they do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because my only thing would be, well, maybe they're wanting to tell us a few of the quick upcoming releases that are coming this month, but these aren't coming out this month, most of them.
Yeah,
SMT5.
in ages.
Yeah, SMT5 isn't until 2021, so it's
it just seems a bit weird to all put in one little collection of 4 games. Like, why didn't they put Bakugan in with that and the Pokemon stuff? Like, they could have just put, if they compiled the Pokemon and the Bakugan and that, all of that into this mini direct. Yeah, as well as Origami King, even perhaps ages ago. Who knows? Like, that would have made a perfectly normal direct.
Yeah, I think people are definitely overreacting, being a bit silly by getting annoyed at it. It's completely inoffensive. It's just whatever. It's just
a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah,
more than anything, we're just a bit confused on the marketing.
It's baffling why they do that. And the thing is, the Japanese version was actually quite a bit more interesting.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know these specific games, but I heard that was much bigger. So
they've showed a few. I think, is it Ryzen or something? A sequel that's coming out. It's not just stuff coming out in Japan. It's coming out in the West as well.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's I get sort of the argument. Okay, well, maybe fans will complain it's too weeby or whatever, but more Nintendo fans are weebs than Nintendo fans are interested in WWE. So
yeah, I don't know, man. Every Nintendo fan I've ever met has been a WWE fanatic. Like, there has not been a single time I've met up with a Nintendo fan and they haven't RKO'd me.
So we are doing a one-off discussion of reviewing WWE, right?
Are we?
We are now.
Oh god, okay, cool. Frame by frame analysis, let's go.
It is what it is, Of course,
yeah,
2-hour analysis,
fine. Oh god.
But in the other world of gaming, on the 23rd, there was the Xbox presentation. I'm assuming you didn't watch it.
Yeah, unlike the PS4 one, I missed out on this. So
you didn't really miss out, Kai. I'm going to tell you.
Oh, okay, good. I know nothing about what happened there, so.
Well, the thing is, obviously, I should preface this: we are not Microsoft fans. I'm even less of a Microsoft fan than I am a Sony fan. So this was never going to appeal to me. This was never for me. But at the same time, when you're making this for a new console that's upcoming, it's not meant to just be for pre-existing fans. It's meant to show stuff to new fans, to try and draw in new people and say, this is why you should get this console. But it didn't really do that.
Yeah, I suppose so. So
they showed off Halo at the start.
What happened? Halo's
well, they started with Halo Infinite, and it, I'm not a Halo person, but it looked pretty good actually. That was a good start. They actually showed off gameplay, and it looked, from what I can see, it looked fun. I know a few Halo fans who are really excited for this, so that's that's all cool. It didn't look mind-blowing to me as a non-fan, but it looked sort of a bit generic. But it looked fun still. So
I think for the fans, they're going to enjoy it. So.
Yeah, carry on.
I think just for the fans themselves, they'll be fine. But that's about it. So
and even as a non-fan, it did look interesting to me. But the problem was the rest of the presentation. While there might have been some interesting games in there, they didn't show any gameplay. So
It was all just
lost
trailers
me.
and stuff, or
Yeah, trailers. Some of the trailers had a few snippets of gameplay, but not enough for you to really piece together. Like, honestly, about
Right.
80% of the games, I couldn't even tell you what genre they were in, you know? Which is
yeah, it is a bit annoying when they do that,
baffling.
'cause it's like you don't actually get a feel for what you're looking forward to because you don't know what the gameplay is. And especially,
Yeah, and, like, you know,
yeah. Wait, hang on.
I
I'm just cut
understand.
out.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all
Yeah,
good.
I
I'm all
understand that not every game is going to have full gameplay. There's going to be some that are just cinematics or announcements, but when everything except Halo is like that, you're going to struggle to sell people on it. You know, like
good. Yeah.
at the end they announced a Fable game, which I know that's a series a lot of people love, but they didn't show any gameplay. So for me, I don't even know what Fable is. It didn't sell me on anything at
Yeah.
all. So
I think it's fine if they, do that for 1 or 2 games in a set of reveals, but if you do it for like every single one, come on, man, you're kind of overdoing it at that point, you know?
that's the problem. So it's not like or Xbox is dead or anything. I'm sure a lot of these games are going to be good. I just wish they showed us that a little bit more. But
Yeah. Well, on the plus side,
But
at
there
least
was-
Halo fans are excited, you know?
oh yeah, that's true. Halo fans are wetting themselves at the moment. Quite a few of them. So
Good for them.
they'll have fun. But there was actually one game which a few days later was announced that it's actually coming for the Switch. And that
Right.
was called. I don't know if you've seen this. It's called Balan Wonderworld. I don't know if you saw that.
I have not seen that, I know.
You haven't? Okay. Well, it's basically it seems like a sort of 3D platform essentially, but it looks very colourful and bright. It's published by
Okay.
Square Enix, and it's got I think some of the developers beyond Sonic and Knights are working on it. And
Okay.
they didn't really show off gameplay in the Xbox presentation, but they did show it later, and it just looked. I couldn't tell too much about it, but it looked really colourful and fun. And like it had a lot of personality, and the fact that's coming to the Switch, I mean, that's something coming. So
It seems fitting as well, from what you've described.
yeah, it definitely seems like the kind of game that will appeal to a Nintendo audience. So
Okay, that's
that's
cool.
actually I sort of saw that and I was like, oh, that's cool, but I'm not gonna get an Xbox. Nintendo, now we're talking,
Good
So
stuff.
that's something. And we do have one more bit of news, which is we probably won't have too much to say, but on the 28th of July, they announced an Animal Crossing update, which is out now, and it includes fireworks shows throughout this month, the ability to go to Dream Islands, which is just visiting a static version of other people's islands, and also Island Backup, which is cool, but that's just a neat quality of life feature.
Yeah.
It's,
I think that
so I don't
basically
know-
describes the whole update, don't you think?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It's fireworks. I'm actually looking forward to maybe doing a fireworks night with some friends, but it's not good. It's
Yeah,
going to
that
last me
sounds
one
fun.
night. It looks really nice, but it's going to last me one night.
Yeah, I think for the Animal Crossing fans, who are still sticking things out, they're still enjoying the
Mm.
game. Like, I'm sure they're going to have a great time with the fireworks. So
Yeah,
there's always that.
it's for me. I haven't played it in about 2 months, and this isn't enough, to draw me fully back in. But it might give me a few more days for fun, maybe. So,
Yeah, we need multiplayer modes. Then we're going back in.
if we get some mini games,
That's what we need, man.
that would be good fun.
Yeah,
Or just give us a WarioWare game or something,
I'd be down.
more WarioWare. But that's I should say they also announced that we're getting more updates in autumn, probably Halloween stuff. So that could be good.
Nice, yeah.
That might
interesting
that's
to see
going to
what
be
they
a
do for it.
yeah, because that's probably going to be a bigger event. So that might actually get me playing a bit more again. So hopefully that could be good.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
But now we are run out of news now, so we're going to go on to our next segment, Games Time, baby, where we talk about the games we've been playing. And to start things off, we both finished Xenoblade Definitive Edition this month. I'm guessing we don't really have anything new to say though. We've we've sort of worn ourselves out on that game a bit.
Oh yeah, that was this month, huh? I forgot
That was,
about that.
yeah.
That was like last week or something.
Yeah, for you it was, yeah, but it feels like forever ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But yeah, I mean, not much more to say apart from what we've already gushed about. It's amazing. Buy it.
It's
please.
amazing. Play it. Do it. But after that, I did move on to my next game, which I played a bit last month, but I finally got to finish it, and that was Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. And
Right.
that was a fun time. I'm sorry, Kai. I actually have quite a lot to say, so you're gonna have to buckle up here.
Yeah, go for it. I'm ready.
But basically, it was a really fun time. You know, it's just as fun as it was back on the PS2. The question for me is, was it more fun? And that's where I think it falters a little bit as a remake. I don't think it's a
Don't
perfect.
think it holds up, or
Not that it doesn't hold up, but I don't think they did enough with the remaster than they could have.
Okay.
You know, especially when you compare it to something like Xenoblade, you know, which that's an unfair comparison, but you know.
no, I
it's not
understand
the-
your point though.
It's not the best remaster, but you know, it's still fun. It's a solid 3D platformer collectathon. It's pretty linear, but the fun comes from going through all these worlds that are familiar to any SpongeBob fan, you know, and seeing it all brought to life. You've got places like Rock Bottom where, you know, the opening of the level was actually the exact same as from the episode with the bus station and the vending machine, and
Yeah, that's
even
cool. I like
even
that.
when you go up to the vending machine, the bus drives past you and then runs off like it does in the episode. So it's just filled with all these
Nice.
references and love to the series, and not just
That's
new
good.
ones either. Not just ones from the original, but the developers of the remake actually added in some new stuff, like in Squidward's house.
Really?
Now up on the wall is a framed picture of handsome Squidward from the meme and the
That's
episode.
good. I like that. I've noticed that with the idle animations too. They've added
Yes.
a couple of new ones. That's
The
cool.
idle animations are full of memes and references, and like in the museum they've got Bold and Brash hanging up. So,
Oh man,
There
more
are-
like belongs in the trash, honestly.
Kai, I've mass respect for you right now. But yeah, it's full of love to the series. You know, combat's pretty basic, but each character has their own abilities, which makes it a bit more interesting. You know, Sandy in particular, she can like glide through the air and lasso enemies, and you can even
She has
sort
like
of
a hook shot type thing, doesn't she?
yeah, she can like swing off stuff, and you can actually sort of hit enemies in the air and keep gliding and combo off them in midair. So
Oh, that's cool.
it feels more satisfying than it should. She's by far the most fun to play as.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
but it's really good. It does. I should say the Switch version does have a few hiccups that aren't in other versions, with frame rate and the resolution dropping sometimes. It's never game breaking, but it's enough that it's a bit disappointing because, you know, things like frame rate weren't an issue in the original version, and
Yeah, you were hoping it'd be like fixed up a bit. Even
you'd
if it
think
is on
so,
the
wouldn't
Switch.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not there in the other versions, and it's not a game killer either way. It's just it is what it is. But it does sort
Okay.
of bring you to if also, you know, they haven't changed the physics. It's a bit janky, you know, and I you know, I didn't need them to change it massively, but there's a few bits that it could have used a bit more tidying up, but it didn't. It plays exactly the same as it did on the PS2, for better and for worse, you know.
Cool.
So,
I mean, that's something, alright. At least they didn't make it completely worse.
Yeah, that's true. You know, they held it up faithfully, and there's a few sort of minor tweaks. I think one of the biggest things actually is they added the camera control in the original. It was very weird. It was inverted, and you move
Oh,
it
okay.
slightly, but it then moves back. You can't hold it in a different place. It will just move back to center.
I see.
Whereas the in remaster they give you full camera control, which actually that's quite a big deal.
Because it's a collectathon, right? There's going to be hidden stuff all over the place.
Exactly, yeah, and you know, camera is a big deal in 3D platformers. It's the one reason I struggle to play Mario 64, because the camera sucks in that game. So that is quite a big deal. So I'm very glad that they fixed that. But overall, it plays pretty much the same. So when you think of it as a remaster, what actually is new? There's they did add a battle arena, a multiplayer arena, but
Cool.
all you do really is just fight hordes of enemies. You just fight waves of them. There's not
so
too much
cool,
to
but
it.
still okay.
It's like I got my dad to play it with me because I don't have anyone else local.
Right.
So, and I'm not gonna lie, we had a good time. It was actually pretty fun. It's just
That's cool.
You can pick through. There's extra characters as well. There's Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Gary, and Roboplankton. Though they
Man, I
all.
want to play as Gary. Oh my god.
I
Can
did
you
play
imagine?
as Gary. It's actually really fun.
How does he work? Is he like the warlock that was in SpongeBob's Dream once or something?
I wish it was that now, Kai.
I
You've
always imagined
disappointed
him
me
as a
now.
fighter being like that.
It's what's weird. They all play exactly the same. It's all standardized. Even SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy have had their moves standardized to play the same.
Damn, okay.
With the exception of every character's standard attack having different range, they all they play exactly the same, really. But it's still quite neat having
Okay.
the different characters. And like, again, it's full of references. So when Gary does a slam attack, he puts on his shoes from the episode "Your Shoes Untied."
Right.
And Mr. Krabs, he
Oh,
he
cool.
attacks with he attacks with a fishbone head, which he uses in the episode "Run Krabs Trash." So it's full of offshoot
You know these
references.
too well. You know them
I'm-
way too well.
I'm just flexing my SpongeBob knowledge, Kai. Let me have this moment.
Go for it, yeah, flaunt it.
But it's definitely charming. It's not gonna last you much time. It's not worth buying the game for.
Yeah.
But of course there is the graphical improvements, and it does look quite nice. It's really colourful. It's no longer murky on the PS2 like it was. It's full of life like the world of SpongeBob should be. Some areas like Rock Bottom with the neon lights and Jellyfish Field with all the grass do look a lot
Yeah.
better. And it's not just textures redone. They've actually fully remade models for the background. There's areas you can see in the distance you couldn't before. It's definitely had work put into it.
That's good.
There's a few areas where they add this weird fog effect, which actually wasn't in the original and is a bit of a hindrance. But overall, it is a graphical improvement. It looks quite nice, especially on other console versions that aren't the Switch.
Yeah, it's good that it's on these consoles in the first place,
Yeah.
so.
I'm sorry, Kai. I've been going on for ages, but
It's alright.
the only one thing I do want to add is a bit of an issue is loading times. For an example,
Okay.
in the original, when you died in Jellyfish Fields, it took you about 2 or 3 seconds to respawn. You just needed to play the animation of you dying and loading in. On the Switch, it took 18 seconds to respawn, which is about 9 times
Every
the length.
time you die?
It varies a bit from area to area, but pretty much consistently about that much time, yeah.
I think there is a solution to that, I've heard, though.
There is.
Just get good at the game and don't die.
You know what, Kai? You are one. If I could insert, them SpongeBob dolphin effects for the swearing, I would right now.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's to be honest, I didn't notice it too much when I was playing. It was only when I went back to the original to test, I was like, that is a pretty big deal, and that could be a breaker for some people.
Yeah,
And
maybe.
I did play I got our friend Jose who tried out the PS4 version for me. So big thanks to him. He tested it and it was 10 seconds in his game, which is better. Still not as good as the original though, which is kind of disappointing comparing it to a 20-year-old game. You think it'd actually be better, but
Yeah,
it's
that's a
it's
little
not the end of the
disappointing,
world.
that.
It's just overall this remake isn't as polished or as perfect as it should be, but it's still a fun way to play the game. If you haven't played it before or you want to play it on a new console, you're going to have a good time with it. You're getting a fun SpongeBob game, so it's definitely worth a
There
go
we
if
have
you're
it.
interested.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kai, for taking up about 10 minutes of stream time. What have you been playing?
So, with the Steam Summer Sale happening recently, I thought, yeah, it's about time I took advantage of it, and I picked up a bunch of games on Steam. But there's been 2 in particular that I've been playing quite a bit of. So, the first one is Dicey Dungeons, and this is a game I already owned on PC. I got the beta version of it, or something like that, alpha, one of those.
Yeah.
And it's the premise is, it's a roguelike game. You're trapped in like a dungeon and you go through the floors as a dice and you fight these different enemies.
Oh,
You
yeah.
attack by rolling dice and putting them into these like weapon slots and attack slots and that kind of thing. There's all different characters with different abilities, different enemies that you can have, different stats effects, different weapons every time. There's 36 different game modes total, plus an ending boss, which I completed just a couple days ago.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, it's just really fun. You know, it's nothing like groundbreaking as a game, but it's just a really fun little indie game, to be honest. It's not too much more to say about it, but it has decent replayability with having a wide variety of equipment. All the different characters are cool. The dialogue is really charming. Because something they added in the full version is you have these achievements, just such as making certain things happen in battles.
Oh, yeah.
And each one unlocks like one of the enemies' pictures. And alongside it, you have like some funny little trivia about them. If you've ever played Plants vs Zombies, the original, they have these little character profiles for each plant and zombie.
Okay.
But
I can't say I played it, but
oh, fair enough. But for those listening, like it's
Yeah.
that kind of thing where they have these different descriptions, like reasons for entering the dungeon, what they hope to get out of it, and just some of them are hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
that sounds cool. I mean, like I don't know too much about this game, but indie games are always a lot of fun, and sometimes it's nice to just play this sort of smaller experience after a massive like JRPG or something, you know.
Yeah, it is definitely a good palate cleanser. It's very refreshing. It can get very annoying at times. Like, as you could tell, the main like antagonist of the game is called Lady Luck, and
Oh, yeah.
she just and yeah. So the entire game is kind of based around rolling dice and being lucky in a sense. So it can get annoying at times. I'm looking at the snowman enemy because he's, but yeah, like it's a fun game regardless though, and it
So
definitely has been improved since the alpha.
So what you're saying is that enemy is Snow Joke. Yeah.
I'm gonna do some dolphin noises back in a minute, I swear. But yeah, that is the first game. That's the first game, and it's been fun.
That's
so.
cool. I guess I
yeah.
should move on
Number
to
2.
my next game then, if you want. Oh wait, if you've been playing.
Oh, you've got 2 as well.
I have 2
if
as
you've
well.
got 2 games, go for it.
Sure. I won't spend too much time on this, but talking about big JRPGs, I can speak. I loved Xenoblade so much that I was full on board to the Xenoblade hype train, and I've started replaying Xenoblade 2, starting with Torna. And I actually
nice.
beat Torna just the other day. And you know what? Xenoblade 2 is my favourite game of all time. I sort of count Torna as part of it, and it holds up. It is so much fun. I mean, you love Xenoblade 2, you know it. It's amazing
yeah, it's
DLC.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
the story is impeccable, soundtrack's
is.
impeccable, gameplay's fun and interesting. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's just a lot of fun, you know. You sort of the same core things as, you know, Xenoblade DE. You've got your walking around areas, talking to villagers, doing side quests, collecting stuff, you know. But it's all very different, and you know, even though I think I prefer 2 overall, you know, it's not that it's better. They both have their own unique gameplay styles, and it's really interesting going straight from one to the other.
For sure.
One thing that I love about Torna's is, and 2's as well, but in particular Torna, is how cinematic it is. Like, you know, you're doing all
action
these
sequences.
Yeah, and also just
Especially
the
the
gameplay.
opening one, like with Jin and Laura. Yeah, it's
Oh
amazing.
yes, you know, and even in the gameplay, you're doing all these crazy moves, switching the weapon, and I just love those like special attacks with the cheesy announcer going awesome and stuff. You know, it's so cheesy, but it's great. Explosion, topple break, or whatever. You know, it's
Yeah,
it's so
it's so
fun.
good. It's so good.
And it's even more crazy with the Torna battle theme, man.
Oh, it's the best
So
battle thing in
good.
the series, I think, honestly.
I
Like the
you know,
best
I might have to
standard
agree with
battle
you.
theme.
And you know, even Xenoblade 2's battle theme, I've just started the main game today, and I forgot how good Xenoblade 2's default battle theme was. It's really good.
It's hype, isn't it? It's
It
really
is,
hype.
yeah. It's just been a lot of fun going back and being able to experience more Xenoblade. And you know, Torna is such a great story. Those of you who've played it will know it has a very emotional ending, and
Yeah.
I may have teared up quite a few times.
Yeah, and I hope this doesn't spoil anything, but the final boss battle of Torna is just a vastly improved version of Bakugan's gameplay.
I know
Straight
exactly what you mean. Yeah, it is. It's like it's not even the most difficult fight, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And the atmosphere and everything is, you know, it's
the,
weird.
The whole thing is amazing.
Going from Torna to the main game, of course, the main game starts off a little bit slower because it's a bigger package, whereas Torna just gets straight into the action a bit. But you know, they're both such fun games. And they've got amazing characters, so just all of Xenoblade is so good. Give us more. Xenoblade 3, whenever it happens.
Oh, there's gonna be a literal frame by frame analysis from us
yes,
when that happens.
Legitimately, we have to do something big when that happens. So
yeah, straight
it's
up.
You know, I love all of Xenoblade, so just playing it again is fantastic. And if you haven't played it yourself, Sophie, go out and play it.
Do it. There are Nop-on in Xenoblade 2.
There are lots of Nop-on. Forget the fact banner's there. There are lots of Nop-on.
Oh, fair enough.
But what else have you been playing?
So the second game I have been playing a lot of. You know, all these games sound great, but and you know, I'm thinking, oh, this is really cool. Like if I ever made my own game, I'd I'd put this thing in. Well,
yeah.
Luckily I can now. RPG Maker MV. Originally, I think it was like 70 quid or something crazy like that, but on the summer sale, it was only, I think 11, maybe 16, something like that.
That's a good sale.
It was amazing, yeah, and I got it with like 2 days left to go because I didn't realise it was a thing. And yeah, so I got the most recent version, and I've been loving it. It's bloody confusing. I'm not gonna lie, it's really confusing. But it's been a lot of fun being able to make my own thing. I'm making sort of a demo version of a game idea right now that should be, that stars both of us as characters in it, playable characters.
Of course, we are the best video game protagonists. Take that, Shulk, Rex, whatever.
Yeah, we don't care about them.
More important.
So I've been working on that. I've been doing all the character stats, making the areas look nice.
I'd imagine there's
a
lot more that goes into it than you'd initially think. I'd imagine.
You couldn't be closer to the truth there, because there is so much to do. There's so many different factors and loads to think about, and I kind of decided to not do any of the tutorials, so I've been learning it all myself from scratch as well. Just been teaching myself, and it's really tough. But once you understand what's going on and when things work, it's like. Yeah, that's nice. It's a very good thing, especially if you're into game design yourself, or if in general, if you like programming and you like video games, it's probably an enjoyable one for you. It
sounds really fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to trying when you finish the demo or even the further game. So
yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, I hope it's good, but it's an enjoyable one to just go through, to test things out, to make things happen, because you can just make all your own special attacks and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, and you're only going to get better at it the more you make games on it, the more you play it. So
yeah, and it will be out on Switch soon enough. It actually got announced for the Switch like a day after I bought it on PC, but I think it's going to be.
I'd imagine the PC
be better on the PC.
Yeah, I'd think that you could probably do more custom stuff, I'd imagine.
Yeah, especially with being able to import files, import your own battle themes, sound effects, character models, art styles, everything really. Plugins especially.
That's true.
So it's been great fun, yeah.
Awesome. Is that the final game you have to say about?
Yep, just those two for now.
Awesome. Well, that brings us. Well, it would bring us on to our next segment. What's your stinking future? But I don't want to depress myself, so we're going to move on from that.
A vision. I can't see it.
Kai, that is pretty much accurate as you can be.
Pretty much.
Let's smash that future away and let's make our own future, Kai, because we're going to have a new segment. And a new one, a sort of one-off segment I like to call, Man, what a bunch of segments. So... I was quite proud of that one. I needed a new title in here, so...
Fair enough.
So this is just a segment we'll have whenever we need more time. I say that, we've actually already gone on for 44 minutes somehow. I'm guessing most of that is me talking about Spongebob, but that aside, we're now going to move on to talk about Smash DLC. Of course, we've had Fighters Pass 1, And Fighters
Yep.
Pass 2 got off to a start with Min Min, who's awesome. I know you haven't tried it yet, have you? But
No, but it all seems pretty good so far, both DLC packs.
yeah, it's all got a lot of variety to them. So we have 5 characters left in Pack 2, and we don't have a clue who they are. So we're just going to try our best to try and predict who we think they could be. But do keep in mind, this is going to have a bit of bias still. This will be influenced by our opinions of who we like as well. So it's not 100% objective,
Of course.
And it's also not 100% realistic. But I've tried to keep it relatively in check.
Yeah, no Naruto. Right.
Wait, no Naruto? Oh, let's change.
It's fine.
But yeah, we're just going to go through one by one, saying our picks, and then we'll talk about them and see how it goes.
Yep.
So Kai, do you want to start us off actually?
Okay, do you want to start off with a big one or a small one?
Surprise me, Kai, surprise me.
Okay, well, I'll start off with one that I think we both have. You know what it is, right?
I think I have an idea.
We haven't discussed this beforehand, but I think we both know what it is.
It's a pretty safe bet, I feel.
A certain screaming JRPG character.
Our emotions are in tune, Kai.
There
Rex
we
and
go then.
Pyra,
So,
yeah.
Rex and Pyra, of course.
Of course, that's my first pick.
course.
So
Yeah, we could both discuss that then, but yeah, there's a lot of options we can have there with, maybe Pyra being there, strengthening up the attacks, whereas Rex is the one who actually outputs them.
yeah, she could be in the background like Pokemon trainer, or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. It might be something where Rex has like a gauge built up maybe to power up his attacks with Pyra or something like that. He may even get the ability to switch to Mithra, who maybe has who might be maybe slower with the attacks but more power because
I can only imagine they would include switching Mithra. I as much as it would be interesting, I don't think they'd switch between other blades because I think that'd get too complicated.
Yeah,
But,
it'd be too much, but just Pyra and Mithra would probably work. Alternatively, I mean, it could always be that you have Rex and Pyra and then something along the lines of maybe Adam and Mithra as an Echo Fighter, but I think that's stretching a bit far.
I would love that so much. Having just played Torna, Adam is actually straight up one of my favourite Xenoblade characters in general. He's in like probably in my top 3 even. I just love Adam, so...
Yeah, he's like a mix between sort of Ryan Dunban and Zeke.
He is. This is completely off topic, but I noticed he has one of his animations where he scratches the back of his head, exactly the same as Ryan does.
Oh, I see. Cool.
It's really funny, but yeah, that would be awesome. But either way, it's just we know that Sakurai loves Xenoblade, and we know that he did have interest in getting them in the main game, but he couldn't. Now's the best chance he's got to do it.
I mean, ages ago when they released that Mii Fighter and Sakurai was like, well, we were going to include him in the main game, but we didn't have development time. Well, I mean, Byleth came out after Rex and got in as DLC, so there is no reason not to have Rex in at this point, and I think it will happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, we've already seen people thought Spirity confirmed. We've already seen Min Min come in, so I think a Mii Fighter is the next logical step, and I think Rex is very likely to be it. And
yeah, for sure.
Rex gets a bit of slack as a character. I think he's a great character, and I would love to see him in this. So
yeah, people bash him, and I mean, I actually watched a video this morning that annoyed me because it was someone complaining about how Rex's and Pyra's voices aren't perfectly synced up when they use Burning Sword.
I prefer that.
I was like, oh yeah, they're going to exactly sync up their voices on Burning Sword every time. Like that's how
funnily enough,
realism
works. That's one of my gripes in Xenoblade 2 is when the characters scream, they all scream at the exact same time, and it sounds really unrealistic. Yeah, so I prefer it when they have a bit of fragmented stuff to it.
Yeah, but without ranting brainless, brain dead haters too much. I think Rex, Pyra, and Mithra would be a good inclusion into the game.
Definitely,
it would work. It's fitting. Sakurai even wants it, so go for it, please, Sakurai.
Definitely. I hope it happens. That's my main character I want as well. So should.
And even then, Xenoblade's successful enough to make it happen as well. It's not like a rare series anymore, like it used to be. So.
Yeah, and that's largely part to Smash in a way, with Shulk coming in Smash. So that's it'd be great to see it come full circle now. So.
Of course, yeah.
But I guess I'll move on to my next pick. and his name is Johns. Okay, no, it's my next. Couldn't resist. My next pick is I tried to get a bit of variety with these, so I've gone with a third-party pick now, and it's Rayman.
I was thinking about that earlier. It's not on my list, but I did consider it.
I think that could be a really fun character. You know, I've only played the 2D ones, Origins and Legends, which are great games, and you know he's got a legacy on Nintendo platforms. He's a beloved character, and even though he hasn't had a game in a while, you know, I think a lot of people would be really happy to see him in there. And
yeah, I mean, he had some games on the Wii that I played, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, Rayman Legends is on the Switch. It was a Wii U game, and it's been ported over to other consoles. But that's, I mean, he's probably a bit more of a basic fighter. You know, sort of along the lines of how Banjo-Kazooie weren't that unique a fighter. You know, they were a bit more standard, but are still a lot of fun to play as. He's of course got his extending. Yeah, he's got his extending fist punch, which, you know, they love their extendable reach in characters now, so...
Yeah, and I mean, it's Rayman is owned by, is it Ubisoft or something like that?
Ubisoft, yeah, it is.
So I think a Ubisoft rep would be cool. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, and, you know, he's got a lot of personality and character to him. I think they could have a really fun, dynamic stage with him.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's a character that's been talked about for a while, and I think now could be the right time.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it'd be a good one to see. So.
Okay, so who have you got next?
I should do one of mine. Yeah. Let's
go for
see. A lot of mine are actually third party. Because
that
I
makes
ran
sense.
out of ideas. I guess the next one I can talk about is. I'll go for one that's maybe slightly controversial. I don't really know. But
Sure.
you know, Steve from Minecraft.
Yes.
Simple. It's been talked about a lot, so there's not too much to add. But you know, biggest selling game of all time. It should be in the video game collab game if it's the biggest one of all time. Steve itself isn't like a personality-filled character, but the game that it's around is big enough to kind of excuse that. The moveset potential is definitely there, I feel, from Minecraft's, you know, set of you know, tools and all that sort of thing.
Definitely. I'm not a huge Minecraft fan, but I think he could be fun, and I don't get like the argument that he's not a personality, because sure, that's true, but he represents the series in the same way that Villager doesn't really have a personality but represents Animal Crossing, you know.
I mean, look at Game & Watch.
Game & Watch, yeah. And they can... as well,
even look at Corin.
Corin has a lot of feet, I mean personality. What was I saying?
Oh god. Cursed.
That one person asking, no. But yeah, I don't know much about Minecraft, but I can imagine a really interesting stage with him as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. So
when that builds itself,
cool
or something. Yeah, definitely.
Something like that. Maybe one that even like teleports to, you know, the Nether and the End and all these different dimensions and that.
Yeah,
and on top of that, I mean, potentially you could have alternate skins, including either Alex, which is the female alternative to Steve, or even Jessie, which is the main character from Minecraft Story Mode. Like, I know it's the Story Mode by Telltale, it's not the actual game, but I mean, that's the version of Steve that has personality, so
you know,
who knows?
I don't think they do this, but what if they even added the like Mario skins from that are in Minecraft?
That would be funny. That would be funny.
That could be cool. But either way, it's this Smash is the celebration of gaming, and Minecraft is a big part in gaming history. So it's
deserving,
undoubtedly, exactly, yeah.
And I guess
I'd
on
be
topic with that,
happy.
real quick, like one thing that I do want is Tetris is of course the second biggest selling game of all time.
Yeah.
We need like a Tetris assist trophy.
That would be awesome. They've got like the Pong assist trophy, or the equivalent of Pong.
It could just be something like that. Maybe where blocks like fall onto the stage and then they match up or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be really fun.
Yeah.
I guess I'll move on to my next pick. Going more for, I don't know if this is a second party one, but it's, I guess that's what it counts as, but I really love Astral Chain, and I think Akira Howard, the main character from that, could be a great addition to Smash.
Cool. I was going to put that on my list, and then I thought, nah, Matt's definitely going to talk about that, so I put it
You
on.
are correct. Astral Chain was straight up my favourite game I played last year. It was really, really fun. It's It's sort of got a platinum action, but it's a very unique style. It's got a really interesting story, and the main character, Akira, can be either the male or the female version, so they could have alternate costumes, like Byleth, Corin, etc. Refit Trainer,
all
yeah.
that sort of thing.
And they could just have a really dynamic moveset and how they use their Legion, which is the one they're attached to on the chain. I could imagine a bit like kind of Rosalina and Luma in a way.
Okay.
How you could sort of send off your Legion to fight while you fight on one hand. They'll probably be a bit of a slower character. They've got their main weapon can switch between a baton or a gun, so they've got all sorts of different abilities. And I won't go into it because it's a bit spoilery, but I could imagine a very good way they could do a final smash, which I think would be likely.
Is that Lappy devouring everyone?
Kai, how did you know? I thought you hadn't played the game.
I don't. I know Lappy is a very loved character. That's about it.
Well, that's also an amazing thing. You know, she's voiced by Cassandra Lee Morris, so we could have her in a third reveal trailer.
I'd be down for that.
As well as Smash
fair,
and Fire Emblem.
You're gone.
No,
Yeah,
continue.
But I think the kind of character like the one from Astral Chain lays the perfect foundations for Sakurai to make like a really interesting character, whereas characters like Rayman or whatever might be a little bit less interesting. This is on the other end of the spectrum.
And they really love their unique gameplay mechanics for the DLC, so that would be a perfect contender. Yeah. Oh, and one special shout out, the music in Astral Chain is phenomenal, so getting that music in Smash. Oh, definitely. There's Dark Hero, there's a song just called Jenna. They're both some of my favourite songs in gaming in general, so make it happen, please. I think the fact they had a Spirit Pack a few months ago decreases the likelihood a little bit for me, but I still think it could definitely happen, and I really want it, so...
Yeah, I'd be down for seeing that. Sounds good.
So, who's your next pick?
Let me just unlock my phone so I can have a look. I forget these things too easily. Let's see.
You don't have them memorized? Amateur.
I guess the next one can be like, it's kind of an obvious one on my behalf, but I would like to see a level 5 rep.
I should have suspected that, yes.
Yeah, the main one I guess I'll talk about will be Oliver from Ni no Kuni.
Yes.
I think it'd just work. You know, Ollie's a really interesting character. He has his wand. He probably used Mornstar or maybe King Tom's wand that he uses from that game.
Excuse me, why wouldn't he use Stick? The most powerful weapon in the game?
Maybe he'd... Because it'd be broken. Come on, man.
That's fair. We don't want him being OP. They always complain DLC characters are OP already, so...
Yeah, but he has like a ton of variety with his moves, you know. Fireball, Frostbite, Pulse, Arrow of Light, the move Mornstar itself, like anything like that could work.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I guess one of his bigger elements is that he has familiars from the game.
Yes.
You know, the main one being it's called the Might, I believe is its original name. And, you know, there could be a lot of stuff with him bringing it out, and you know how Pokemon Trainer has itself and, you know, all the 3 different Pokemon.
Yeah.
It could be that Ollie actually switches out between himself and the Mighty Might or something.
That could be cool. I mean, I may not have played this game, but I've watched you play all of it, so, you know, I really enjoyed what I saw, and there's so much potential. I can imagine, again, the music and the stage would be really fantastic.
Yeah, and I think it'd be like a Sheik Zelda dynamic from Melee, where... and Brawl, I guess, where, you know, you switch between the characters. One's more of a, you know, a quick combo physical character, where the other one's more a bit, you know, defensive, a bit more of a mage, that kind of thing. So I'd be cool to see that happen.
And just Drippy in Smash Bros, you know, in some form.
That too. And I mean, there is the argument of if they follow the Zelda Sheik thing, like, you know, what if the Sheik, which would be the Might, is too powerful? We'll make a thing where the Might is slightly stronger, but give it a stamina gauge like it has in the game, so that you can't always use it. You have to switch into Ollie from time to time.
Yeah, that would make sense too, yeah. There's definitely ways they can get around it in a unique way, which they've been doing, so...
Yeah, and I guess as well as that for level 5, not something I'll talk about too much, because again, it's been mentioned a lot, but Professor Layton. I know there's a couple of people out there that really want to see Professor Layton, and
perhaps a certain audience member. really wants
Yeah.
Leighton.
But you know, if Leighton got in
Yeah.
instead of Ollie as a level 5 rep, I'd be happy with that still, because Leighton is, you know, he's had 6 very good games, and also
Yeah.
one on the Switch, which I'm not going to say is good, because
Catriel joins the battle.
oh god, yeah. But Leighton himself, you know, he's got options with he's got like an arcade like coin gun from Unwound Future. He's got his fencing that he does. He's got even like horse riding in Miracle Mask. He's got a ton of stuff that he does.
Yeah.
So I'd be cool to see him in instead.
I mean, I've played the first 4 Leighton games and I love them all. He's actually, I mean, Leighton was a big part of the DS and a big part of Nintendo culture back then. So it's bizarre
course,
we
yeah.
haven't seen anything of him in Smash, not even a trophy or a spirit at all. So as a fighter, please make it happen. I love it.
And I mean, if they really want to throw a curveball with level 5, put an Inazuma 11 character in, either Mark or Axel, like, just stick him in there, please. I mean,
That would
with
be
Mark's moveset, like, something that people may or may not know, I'm not sure, but Mark actually would probably have a very similar move set to Isaac from Golden Sun. I believe that's the right character, but he has the same God Hand move. He has other moves that could work. You know, Fist of Justice.
I'm sorry, Kai.
all of this.
We've already got Wii Fit Trainer with the football representation, so you know.
I don't know. Yeah, but I think it'd be cool.
That could be fun.
Mark's a goalkeeper, so he has a lot of, you know, physical-based moves. Like, he'd have a lot of hand movements. But Axel is a striker, so he could just have a lot of moves that involve kicking a football really hard. Who knows?
That could be interesting. You know, I love how you talking about level 5 is my talking about SpongeBob. You know, it's
pretty much.
I can tell how much you love it, so that's really cool.
So
they would
those
make
I'd be happy with.
that sounds neat. So on contrast to that, my next pick is a character I actually haven't played a game from, but I think they deserve to be in, and that's Shantae.
Right.
You know, because I think an indie pick would be cool, and Shantae's a long-running indie series who's got a lot of love behind her, a lot of fans, and she has her transformations that could be really interesting. And
yeah,
I just think now would be. I've tried to get a bit of variety in here, and I think as an indie pick, she makes the most sense. I think.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Should be good indie representation. It seems like she'd be an interesting fighter, like not too off the scale, but you know, interesting enough that you go, oh, that's really cool to include.
Yeah, you know,
so
she can bond.
A nice addition.
She can bond with Bayonetta, how they both fight with their hair, you know, all sorts.
Yeah, there is one flaw in your idea though with Shantae.
Oh yeah.
There is a much better pick from Way Forward, being was it Way Forward? No, not Way Forward. Being Bakugan. It was Way Forward.
That's Way Forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you win. We don't need to do the rest of our picks. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, just Bakugan. Bakugan is every fighter.
You know, not even a specific character. Just Bakugan is.
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
Buncha Bakugan. That's what we're becoming. It's.
Yeah. Okay. My next character then, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got an interesting one here. I'm interested to see how it'll go. I am a big fan of Plants vs Zombies, so I think it would be cool to see the pea shooter into Smash.
Oh.
You know, there's been a couple of different Plants vs Zombies games. I think there's 3 games on mobile now, and there's the original game plus 2 sequels on mobile, plus 3 Garden Warfare games, and I think they can draw ideas from the Garden Warfare series in particular to make a really, really interesting character in pea shooter. So.
Okay. Plants vs Zombies is something I know pretty much nothing about. I've seen a bit of gameplay of one that looked a bit tower defense-y. I don't know if that's accurate.
That is exactly what Plants vs Zombies is originally.
Yeah. So you know,
but
that's
Garden
all I've
Warfare,
seen.
Garden Warfare is actually a shooter. It's a third-person
Yeah, I've heard
shooter
of it.
game.
Yeah, I haven't
And
seen anything of it.
It's really good. Honestly, like it's like you know, it's like your average your Overwatch, your Valorant kind of thing, but except it's much less on a competitive scale. But it still has those elements there, and it's really fun. I played the first 2, the second one especially, and the Garden Warfare series is really good at expanding on these characters and what they can do. So the pea shooter has like a chili bean bomb that it can throw out, so it can be similar to the splat bomb. It has an ability that makes it really agile. It has like a Gatling pea move where it roots itself in the ground so you can't move, but it shoots like extremely quickly and like at a high damage rate. And I think there's just a lot of potential there to make a really cool fighter and pea shooter.
Yeah, I mean, you've definitely sold me on it. It does sound really interesting. That could be a very unique fighter. And also, you know what? We started the DLC with Plant. We can finish it with Plant too. So...
Exactly. I'd be down.
Full
I just
circle.
think pea shooter's cool, you know?
That would be cool. Yeah, I'll be up for that. And I guess the final pick now is my final one. Have you exhausted yours then?
I have one left plus an Echo Fighter idea.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, this is my final one, and you know what? Oops, I just knocked my laptop. Moving on. They've been with Ultimate. They've been living up to its name of making it the ultimate game, and including a lot of characters who fans have wanted for ages. They've had, characters like King K. Rool. They've had Banjo-Kazooie and Ridley. Characters people had given up hope for, and I think the DLC Pack 2. I think it's time to get one more of those, and I think it's time for Geno.
Oh, Geno. Right.
Sorry, yeah, Bakugan.
Okay,
that's
cool.
what I meant to say. Yeah, Bakugan.
Make your case then for Geno. Go for it.
Well, I haven't played the game, so I don't know too much about Geno, but it's such a beloved character, and fans have been really, very, adamant about wanting this character in. I think he was even considered at one point in Melee or something. So, and I've heard from the gameplay that he has a very unique style. I think he uses a kind of gun thing, where he can shoot projectiles or something. I don't know what it is exactly, but like I said, this is not a character I know anything about. I'm showing that now, but it was between him and Isaac, and I think it could have been either, but I just think it's Geno's time to shine. I just have a gut feeling. I feel it in my jellies,
Golden Sun fans cry once more.
Yeah, I'm just holding up a big middle finger to the Golden Sun fans. You have your assist trophy, you'll like it. But yeah, I mean, Geno.
Sounds good though. Yeah.
He even didn't have. He had his Mii Fighter costume removed from from Ultimate even, which was in 4. So maybe they're planning something. Could happen.
Yeah, and he'd definitely fit in as just a hype character like Ridley, K. Rool, all of that kind of thing. Like K. Rool's not an entirely relevant character nowadays in the games themselves, but he's got such a following, and Geno is following the same suit with that. So
yeah, that's what I think it's in line with what Ultimate has been doing. So
yeah,
hopefully, and I know some fans would really love that. So hopefully we'll see it happen.
Yeah.
So who else have you got left then?
I suppose I should do the Echo Fighter really quick because it's just a small idea I had earlier. I think that there's a place for just a random Echo Fighter that they could introduce in a character pack or something. And that Echo Fighter is for Wii Fit... No, Wii Fit Trainer. Can you guess
I
what
see where this
thinking?
is going.
Yeah.
Are you thinking the Ring Fit Trainer?
I am indeed. And
yes.
they are different. They are different characters. I will contend that they would probably have very different movesets if they made Ring Fit a whole new character. But I think that Ring Fit as the self-proclaimed sort of sequel in a way could work as just like an Echo Fighter or something like that, having slightly different moves, but having the same core idea about it. I think it could work because although it's not like been a huge game, it's just like a harmless little addition, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I could if they were doing Echo Fighters, I could definitely see that being one. It follows the same sort of suit, and I've heard that the game's actually quite good. It's apparently hard to buy because people keep selling it out. So
yeah, pretty much.
There's definitely a following there, so I wouldn't be against that, no.
Yeah. So my final character, and this is kind of like the level 5 one. It's kind of based on a development team or company or anything like that, rather than just the character itself. But I think we should see something from Bethesda.
Oh yes.
Now, of course, recently we had Pip-Boy, I think it was, or the Fallout character, enter as a Mii Fighter, which was cool, and that might deconfirm things, who knows, but... Well, not deconfirm, but make it less likely.
Or you could argue it makes it more likely they're working together.
Yeah, that is also what my initial thought was. So I think that we have two options for that, two big ones. Either the main character from Skyrim, being the Dragonborn, or the main character from Fallout 4 being the Lone Wanderer. Now, I don't
Yeah.
know the Fallout series too great, but we did talk about it last time, and the Fallout series is good. You know, it's enjoyable from what I have played of it. The gameplay, the moveset for Lone Wanderer probably wouldn't be too interesting, because it's mainly just, you know, shooting different guns and that, but there's a lot of variety in their weaponry in a lot of ways. You know, I remember a flaming chainsaw, I'm pretty sure, and that kind of thing. You know, you have like different types of guns that do different types of things. Especially, I don't know if you know about this, but in Fallout you have a thing where you stop time pretty much, where you extremely slow it down, and you can focus on certain parts of the body to do like more damage.
Yes, yeah, I've seen a bit of it.
And you know, maybe that could be a thing that they introduce somehow as a like key component of the character. And
you make me think a bit of
that.
Bayonetta's Witch Time, you know, something like that.
Yeah,
but...
maybe something like that, and I'd be cool to see that be a thing as part of the moveset. But the main idea I had was with the Dragonborn from Skyrim.
Yes.
Because, you know, the Dragonborn, I'd argue, is probably a bit well more known.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, Skyrim was so huge. I only played it recently, and I haven't got too far into it, but back when I was in school, everyone I knew was talking about Skyrim. Everyone was just randomly yelling Fus Ro Dah at me, you know, it's...
Oh, man.
It was a cultural phenomenon, you know.
Yeah, and
no
I mean, even
denying
now,
it, so...
like, I'm literally playing it tonight on stream for people who want to know when this was recorded.
Yeah.
It's a really fun game, and of course it has its flaws, but we're not here to talk about the game, we're here to talk about the character. And yeah, the Dragonborn would work, I think. It has a very good variety of moves. You know, you have daggers, one-handed, two-handed, bows, magic, all of that, as well as the infamous dragon shouts such as Unrelenting Force. I think it would just simply work very well as a character, and although his art style might not fit perfectly, I think they could make it work regardless in the game somehow. And
they made Solid Snake work.
Yeah, it would be tough, but I think they could definitely do something. Yeah,
I would
make that happen.
I would be full on board for that. I think I should also mention, isn't Doom Bethesda?
Doom? I think it is, yeah.
Because I know there was a lot of rumours about Doom Guy making it in Smash a while back, so I don't know if there's anything to that. I haven't played Doom. Well, actually, I played the original Doom, actually. But, you know, I thought I should at least mention that. That could be a possibility as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about Doom myself, but, yeah, like, that could definitely work as an alternative. I'm still a Dragonborn supporter, but...
That would be my pick instead. As well. Yeah, that all sounds cool. We've a lot of variety there. Every single character we mentioned is confirmed. You know, that's
like 15 of them at this point.
Yeah, our uncles work for Nintendo, so.
Oh, I see.
It's all reliable.
Yeah, my uncle's friend's dog's owner's cousin works for Nintendo.
Yeah, I once knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy's cousin who worked at Nintendo. So
there we go.
But I mean, if any of those make it, if just one of those makes it in, I'll be happy. You know, so
yeah.
Ultimately, whoever they pick, they're gonna make it fun to play. So I'm hyped all the way. So.
Of course, same.
And that brings us to the end of the podcast. I was worried about time, but this is. By far the longest one, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yep.
You know, it's I've had a lot of fun doing it, so thank you, Kai, for doing this with me once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So of course, thank you everyone for watching this. You know, if it's been a while, so if you stuck through the whole thing, I applaud you. Of course, you can find this podcast. You know, we release monthly videos as well as a few extra ones here on YouTube, as well as you can watch on Spotify and Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else you find them. So feel free to check them out wherever you prefer. A big thanks to Sam for creating our logo and thumbnail and doing all sorts of extra stuff for us. And of course, Kai, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Vascarine. Should be link in the description. And yeah, I'm doing a bunch of streams there. I'm doing a lot of variety nowadays, specialising on open world games, Castle Crashers, and multiplayer games. So feel free to join.
Yeah, give it a look. And before we go though, I have one more thing. We have a certain audience member called Sophie, who I mistakenly promised a birthday song for back in the 11th when it was her birthday. And you know, I don't have a song, but I created a small poem which I will read out for you now. Very short, but buckle up, Kai and Sophie. I hope you enjoy this. My phone's just locked itself. Here we go. A birthday for Sophie has occurred this month, a poem to celebrate the life of one noble sung song, despite being half a month late. I owed you a song, this is what you get. I hope the change isn't too phasing, but I hope you enjoyed such a fantastic day, and that it was a amazing. The end.
Alrighty, there we go then.
I definitely didn't write that in about 2 minutes before the stream.
Well, that was something, alright, huh?
What a way to end the podcast. We'll see you next time, guys. Happy birthday, Sophie.
Alright, there we go.
Goodbye.
That's a wrap.
That's it.